Stream Elements. Cave Fibers is now live. Streaming makers and crafting. Sock Madness Round 3. Oh bother.
Okay, I believe we're ready. Hello everybody. Welcome to Kiwi Fibers. Jill, you got first this time. Yay. We're petting a Miss Abby here. She's insisting because Mama was gone this morning. I delivered a dozen eggs and picked up a nice big bunch of egg cartons that I truly needed. I was on my last container of egg cartons to put eggs in, because the hens have been laying like crazy. Crazy buddies. There's the Abby cat. I started working on a yarn cozy out of that little bit of leftover alpaca polyamide blend of yarn from that top. The top that Manny's wearing.
I have my oldest saving hers too.
Oh. So that is what I'm working on.
Geonatrix. Typo, sorry.
That's okay. She's saving hers too. Yes, Kitty wants all the pets. And, oh, she was just sleeping. Okay. Like, that hen just doesn't look right, but she's falling asleep. She's falling asleep right there. I kind of keep a closer eye on her because she is my oldest hen.
Hey, KB.
Elliot! Hey, hi! Welcome in, fiber friends. We're just gonna hang out, pet the kitty. I finished the socks earlier this morning, about 8:30 this morning, but I've had to take pictures or retake the pictures like 3 times, and I'm like, geez, didn't know I had to be a professional photographer for this. Hey!
KB, I am learning that crochet is hard.
Crochet is hard? No, it's not. No. Crochet's not that hard. It takes practice, yes. Not hard once you got it. Not hard once you got it. I find it enjoyable. And I could get projects done pretty quickly with crochet. Sleepy day. That hen's being funny. She's pecking food out of the container.
I got a little bumblebee pattern and I need to figure out how to do a magic ring into single crochet.
Magic ring is...
And oh dear, I cannot do it.
You can do it. If you can make a slip knot, you can do it. It's just like doing a slip knot, except you don't pull it tight. You leave that hole loose. Let me grab a worsted yarn here. I gotta have one fairly close. Here. We'll show you really quick. And comes over here. If Abby will let us. So, I'm just going to grab a G hook that's sitting here. So I grab the yarn, wrap it around my fingers, fold my fingers over. So this crosses over the top of the tail, around to the back. I hold it with this finger. The hook, I go between the fingers, grab that yarn, pull it up. Flip it over, hold this open, and now you can crochet in the circle. So to single crochet in there, you chain up 1, and then just start putting singles in there. So you should be working over 2 loops. Then when you're done, you can pull that tail and zoop, pull it closed. Just like that. That's a magic loop or magic ring. Not really magic. You're just putting stitches inside of a slip knot. Did you get that, or you need me to do it again? Around. I usually go around 2 fingers, sometimes 1. But basic is just like making
crochet part. Elliot squirrel. I can't get it right.
The single crochet part. It's easy. You get to here, okay? So there's your slip knot. Whoops, just came out. Okay, Abby, I need you to move, baby girl. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Thank you, honey. Here, you want a snack? Want a snack? I'll give it to you here. Up here. Right here. Okay? Up here. Right here. Right here. Sorry. Okay. So you make your slip knot. Have this loop that you pull through. That's the one you hold. That's where you begin your chain. So I hold it right at the base here. Chain up. So you just yarn over and pull through. That's a chain. Single crochet, you go in the circle, pull up a loop. So you have 2 loops, then yarn over and pull through the 2. Okay, we'll bring the camera down in here. Hopefully you can see this better. I'll take this out. So slip knot, have your loop, put your working yarn through the loop. That's the loop you grab. I hold my yarn in my left, and I'm going to hold at the base of that loop. You chain, take the hook down into the circle, pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through the 2. That's a single crochet. Pull up a loop, so you have 2, then yarn over through both. When you're done, you just pull this loop closed. In to 2. And when you yarn over, always go clockwise, counterclockwise, back to front, back to front, back to front. It's a single crochet. So through the loop, pull up 2 loops.
You make it look so simple. I wish you could see me fail.
I don't want to see you fail. I'm trying to help you succeed. I'm trying to help, man. I'm trying to help. Am I not helping? I'm trying to help. So, make your loop. You're pulling up through the middle, and this is quite loose and fiddly. That's why I'm saying grab it right underneath that loop you pull through. Hey, Frolic. So then you'll pull through that. Then you go into your circle to pull up a loop. So you have 2. Hold right at the base of that. That helps sturdy up your stitches so you can get in there better. Pull up a loop. Move your fingers through 2. Pull up a loop. Hold right at the bottom of that to pull through those 2. You'll get the muscle memory once you practice some more. Just keep practicing. You'll get it. You'll get it. I promise. Keep practicing.
Elliot Squirrel.
I got faith. You got it.
I can't get it right even once.
Oh, keep trying. Keep trying. You'll get it. I promise you'll get it. And then once you get it, you'll be like, okay, that was easier than I thought. It'll be okay. Keep practicing. You'll get it.
Geonatrix.
You'll get it.
Keep trying.
It does take practice. Trust me. We know.
ITLL click.
Right? It'll click. Right? That's what I'm saying. Okay. Oops. Okay, finally. That's better. Thank you. Congratulations. Your socks have earned a spot in the next round. Great job. Now you can relax and enjoy the bonus pattern.
Geonatrix.
Okay.
I'm not a crochet, but I'm on my 5th flower thingy.
Ooh, yay.
Elliot Squirrel. Thank you, KB. I'll give it a lot of small attempts, so I don't get too frustrating.
Ooh, I like these. What do you
Well done
think?
for getting into the next round.
Thank you. I just got notification, and I've been working on this since 8:30 this morning. I finished at 8:30 this morning.
What's the bonus pattern?
Right here. I'm showing you now.
Elliot Squirrel.
Focus.
Oh, that's already.
I like the
Elliot
bonus
Squirrel.
pattern. Why couldn't that be this
Asterisk
round?
pretty. Elliot Squirrel. Asterisk pretty.
Why couldn't this sock be this round? This is a nice looking sock.
Geonatrix. Those should have been the pattern.
Right? Instead of the Winnie the Pooh ones. And then they're complaining because I had Winnie the Pooh in the picture. And they're like, oh, as much as we love Winnie the Pooh, we don't want to see that. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I needed to be a photographer. Everybody else was taking pictures with the Pooh Bear, so I did too, and they didn't like it. So yeah, this one had a lot of extra flash up there in the corner, but they could easily zoom in. Their complaint was that they couldn't see the honeycombs. Like, you can tap the picture and blow it up. You can most certainly see what it is that you want to see, as well as the beads. Didn't need to do all the extra photos, but whatever. That one, granted, wasn't the best. But I cleaned off my lens. This one is fine. The rest are good. You can see the honeycombs on there. I'm serious. This is original Pooh Bear with the brown nose, the brown facial features. But the original Pooh Bear also did not have a red shirt. So then here's me wearing them because I wore them out. And hubby and I had lunch together today. So I was wearing them. They fit nice. So here I took extra pictures again.
Geonatrix. Nice.
Yeah, they're not bad. Definitely not my favorite, but there's that. And I actually do like the bonus sock. Contexture. Small, medium, large. Small is a 56, medium's a 70, and a large is 84. Well, the medium's too large and the small is too small. Must be the number of stitches you need to have for the Fair Isle. Oh, it's not Fair Isle. It's all slip stitches. There are no color changes during the round. No threads floating at the back of the work or inside of the sock. Each round is completely in one color. At the end of each round, pick up the next color from underneath the color you just worked with to create a jogless stripe. Alright, I actually like these, but I don't like the number of stitches for the start. And like most top down, you gotta have the gusset, the heel turn, heel flap, all that junk. Of course, there's a different left sock than a right sock. All right, let's see. Open with knit companion. I'll make those eventually. I'm probably not going to make them right now. But I am going to upload the pattern into Knit Companion so it's there and ready for me when I'm ready to work on them. Yes, yes, that makes me happy. Okay, let's back this camera out of my face. Okay, will it stay right there? I've had problems with it staying in that spot before. Need to tilt that way. Okay, I think I'm done moving camera. So, I'm sorry if that bothered you in any way, shape, or form. Frolic, if you're here, thank you so much.
Frolic 838. What did I do?
The post in Discord. Thank you for that. I usually use the Halo app for all of the Gospels and stuff, especially through Easter. I love that app so much. So I listen to those every day.
Ah, you bet. It's a labor of love. There are many wonderful songs there that help me enter in.
Fiber fuzz all over. Okay. All right, how about we actually do some knitting? Get this ball of yarn out of the way. I want to finish this yarn cozy I started. I started this, and this yarn has got fuzzies all over the place. This is that alpaca yarn that was used to make that sweater. I'm not going to hold it with the pink, but I would like to make a yarn cozy with it. I don't know if this is the best idea because it is got fuzzies hanging out all over. Kind of sheds. Maybe it's a bad idea for a yarn cozy. I don't know. It makes a nice piece of fabric though. Here comes Missy Mia. Hi. You just went and got a snack. Good. You still got a piece of food in your mouth. There, Mama got it. Yeah, I got it. There you go. You messy eater. You're a messy eater. I wish y'all could touch this. It's so soft. So soft.
Stream Elements. Welcome to Cave Fibers. I hope you enjoy the stream.
Indeed. Went to Crazy Dog for lunch. That was so good. Had the Jersey dog. Delish. So many things I should be working on or could be working on. It'll be okay. You know what? I don't think I put water in my cup either. I did not. There is a couple more swallows in there. I really should get back onto that tent blanket. Oops. 3. Then pearl. Excuse me, goodness.
Frolic 838. Thanks for the reminder. I'm pushing hard to get through things at work so I can focus on the passion starting at Mass tonight. But,
Right?
Frolic 838. No water.
Oh no. I got a couple swallows left. I'll get more when I take a break. What? What?
Frolic 838. I don't.
You don't have water? Uh-oh. Ruh-roh.
Frolic 838. Been hyper-focused and forgot to fill the bottle.
Yeah, me too. Been focused. Here's the cap. The cap to my sangria. I failed to throw it away. Mama failed to throw it away. Maybe we'll start that hooded cowl, but I want to kind of work the pattern backwards. I'd rather go top down. That way if I want to go longer, I can. Kind of makes sense. At least that's where my thoughts are with it. The pattern is actually worked bottom up, but I'd rather go top down. So I'm thinking I will work it backwards. It'll probably be the project I take with me for this weekend. I don't know if I have it in my, probably don't have it in my phone either. Let's see.
Geonatrix. Need a PDF. Geonatrix. I converted it to PDF today.
Oh, did you? Jennifer just replied to my post. My post was, I'm using what I have, so not much like Pooh. Well, unless he's blue with a purple shirt. Her reply is zombie Pooh, perhaps with zombie bees. Zombies. Zombie bees. Okay, so we have a zombie Pooh with zombie bees that look like flies. That's funny. Ooh, somebody doing green. Green with red. That's snappy. That could almost be more elf-like. My Easter Winnie Pooh. So now that I've been approved, $47 and 5th. None of the slower teams have any done. Team K has one. So there's 47 that have finished, and most of them are these faster teams from T on down to Z. O has 3. Y has 9. Only 23 from each team are going to move on to round 4. And we're only going to go down to 15. And then 8. I'd be surprised if I make it to round 5 this time. I'd be surprised if I make it past round 4, to be honest. We'll see what's next. Here's that photo. Post. There we go. That's the picture I'm posting. The one of my fat little leggings. Bum, bum, bum. Alrighty. Goodness, excuse me. Okay, I was gonna go back here.
Main part of cross done.
Yay! Let's just do this one to go to nitty.com.
Bless.
Thank you! I know. Ooh, that's pretty. I like that shawl. What do you think of that shawl? Isn't that pretty? Wish you could blow it up more. I like that one.
I like it.
Me too. Trailhead Yarns Cabot Trail. 100% tencel. 800 yards. It's a lace weight yarn. Look at that. That's. Ooh, I like that. Oh, sorry. Let me unplug the phone. That is, I love it. That's so pretty. It looks like feathers.
I organized today.
Ooh. US 1. No. 1 US 4. 3.5 millimeter needle. 24 inch or longer. Pattern uses short rows. It's crescent shape. Love, love, love it.
Geomatrix. Didn't realize I had so many foes.
Ooh, you got a lot of finished objects? Where are they hiding? Okay. We were looking for...
Geonatrix. Back of my couch mostly.
Ah. Let's see, we need... sport weight yarn. Well, this isn't sport weight. This is more of a fingering weight than a sport. Hope he never puts any of that information on here. $515 yards. This is 250 grams or 1,000 meters.
Geonatrix. I'll do gauge. Geonatrix. Might just use a size up on needle.
Well, it says a 4mm needle. Which will make these stitches look kind of loose. 50% cotton, 50% acrylic. Might need to rethink this. So I need 515 yards.
My yarn is fingering too.
I'm thinking about going down in size
Geonatrix.
of needle.
I'm going to just see.
I'm thinking about downsizing. Might go with the 3mm instead of a 4mm. But I'm going to swap it out and I'm going to start at the top instead of the bottom. That way, if I want to make it a little bit longer, I can. So you guys can see what I'm talking about. This is the pattern we're talking about here. Let me full screen that.
Geonatrix. I like a lazier, more shawl-like look.
Yeah, I want a more shawl-like look. That's why I want to start at the top. Do the hood part first, then join it and go in the round. And then you can always add more stitches in here to get this to lie flat so you don't have this crinkle going on, and make it lacier, more like a shawl instead of this flat rounded edge. I can do anything else. That is what I'm thinking about, but I'm also, I think 3mm would be good. Thinking about using the highest, which would be what, 2.5. That's a 2.75. This is a 3.25. Maybe I'll go with the 3.25. Nice pointy tip for lace work.
Ooh, I haven't tried highs yet.
That is what I'm thinking about starting next after I finish this yarn cozy. Wanted to get this yarn cozy done first. And if you don't know what a yarn cozy is, it's one of these. It's one of these. It holds your fingering weight yarn. It would be perfect for leftover yarn, so all those tail ends aren't flying all over the place, getting all tangled and discombobulated. Be great for even the smaller ones would be fantastic. Well, this is a yarn I have caked up and ready for Sock Madness, but we'll see.
I need to make some of those.
Yeah. I usually start at the top and work down. And I was practicing that Chinese waitress cast on that we did for the top of the last pair of Sock Madness socks. I felt like I needed to practice that some more, but you can see how nice and stretchy that is. It's definitely a different technique.
Garlic 838.
But I wanted to practice
Looks like
it.
a great way to practice both cast on and decreases.
Right?
Which I kinda stink it.
Yeah, it'd be great practice. And nobody's gonna care what it looks like. This is gonna hold your yarn from getting all over the place. And I thought about even making them smaller, or even using these smaller bits of hand spun I have, like this and that. And I got a couple turtles sitting back here from strap spindling. Have those. Oh, I have one more turtle hiding back here, so I can use these up and make smaller ones to hold the smaller leftover bits, keep them from getting all over. Trying to get a handle on all of my leftovers. They come unraveled too easily. You know, leftovers like these, they're much smaller. This is what I used to make that one.
I swear you are so full of great ideas.
Do I need... Oh, excuse me. Do I need to market this? Come up with a pattern and put it in my coffee account? Sell it for $1 or $2? Enough to... I need to make a little more money off of coffee. Make it worth keeping it. Either that, or I just need to stop doing coffee and just start my own website.
Crazy like that. Yes.
To start my own website? I think so too. I mean, that way if I wanted to sell some of this wool I have at the mill currently. She never did call me back. Of course, it is Easter week. I'll wait until after. Oh, I might try to call her next week. Let her know to process the full batch and not just half. Hubby got more overtime, so we should have enough saved up to do the full batch. Get her all done. It'd be better than having to do less trekking on her part, I would think. One lonely little strand right here needs to flop over. Nope. Needed to go the other way. Okay.
Fernster.
We got it.
Evening, guys. How's it
Frickster, hello,
going?
hello.
Garlic
It's
838.
going alright.
Good to hear.
I made it through round 3 of Sock Madness, so I'm moving on to round 4. I finished the socks this morning, and I've worked all day on getting the proper photos. I didn't know I had to be a freaking photographer too. Proper photos posted to move on to the next round. I don't know what their dealio is. I think they were looking for the cable. And here, I don't know. I don't know what all they were looking for. But having to repost photos 3 times is just a little ridiculous. Already? It's been 4 days? What do you mean already? I don't have a... Well, I guess I can't say that. I don't have a full-time... Well... I was going to say, I don't really have a typical full-time job. So... It's supposed to be Winnie the Pooh. So what's blue should be yellow. So you see the honeycombs going on down the toe. Take this off. We'll go this way. So you have like, the blue should be yellow. The beads should be yellow and black instead of silver and black, because they're supposed to represent bees. And the purple should be the red shirt. So it should be like Winnie the Pooh getting to the honeycomb and being attacked by bees. So I guess I have the zombie version of Pooh, as somebody else pointed out, because it's a blue Pooh color and a purple shirt instead of a red shirt. You know, like Pooh. Winnie the Pooh.
Fergster, the honeycomb pattern looks great.
Doesn't it? There's a little bit to do, but...
Fergal.
There we go.
Looks great.
Thank you. Got them done. I finished the last toe this morning. I actually ran out of yarn just before the toe decrease started. Like the row before the toe decrease. Otherwise, it was still a 50-gram ball of yarn. Because this is what I had left over. This is the Hobie. But I weighed this. Wait till you see this. Let me move some of this yarn. Now I got too much yarn on my desk. Here we go. Grams. I still have 50.5 grams. So I still have a 50-gram ball. Even after doing the toe on one sock. I don't know. Cannot explain. Cannot explain. Does not compute. Is it supposed to be a 50-gram ball? It's supposed to be a 50-gram ball. So now I'm wondering what these other ones weigh. Here's the dark blue. 54. So 4 grams for the toe. But the gray, 52.5. And the pink,
Bonus.
55.5. Yeah, they all seem to have a little bit extra. So I still have a 50-gram ball. Now it's saying 51. It said 50.5 earlier. I'm putting it back in the bag for later. I doubt if it'll be enough for a full pair of socks, but we'll see. We'll see. So, yep, there's my finished socks. I was wearing them today. I wore them out. Well, I didn't wear them out. I wore them while I was out. Word choices. Word choices. I just can't get the bottom of the shirt to stay down either. You should have steamed it. I don't know. This is what it is. They're done. I don't have to think about it anymore or worry about it while we're enjoying Easter. I just feel it's a little ridiculous that they released the pattern during Holy Week. Or at the start of Holy Week. I don't know. I'm not too thrilled about that, but it is what it is, I suppose.
A lot of things do that. They could have massive fines for fraud if they sold less than advertised. So they add a little bit over to be safe.
Yeah, probably. And if there's knots or...
for so many people.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's usually, a Christian thing. Just like Christmas is a Christian thing. Just like many things.
It is for me. That's the reason I am grumbling about being in the office today.
Right? Kids even got half a day at school today. They're already home. And they don't have school tomorrow or Monday.
Bergster. That's where the term, baker's dozen, comes from. They would add a 13th roll in every dozen just to make sure they were not underselling.
Right?
Stream elements. Welcome to Cave Fibers. I hope you enjoy the stream.
Indeed.
Kids in the UK get 2 weeks off around Easter.
Wow. 2 weeks. Lucky kids. I guess it's part of their spring break then. Spring break and Easter all in one. Not here. Overworked, underpaid. The whole 9 yards. I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to go put ice and more water in my cup since it's nearly empty. And I'm going to run to the restroom. So I'm going to be right back, y'all. Give me a little bit.
Squirrel. Well, the school timetable in the UK ties into Christian holidays. Elliot Squirrel. So there isn't a spring break. Geonatrix. Okay, one more little flower.
Alrighty. Sorry that took a little bit. Need to get that load of laundry in the dryer. Did an extra load because I wanted a specific pair of pants for this weekend. And that's how I roll. Just throw it through the wash really quick. It's fine. Totally fine. There's enough to make a full load. Alright, and I can only stream till about 5:15 today. Hubby needs to be in church by 6. So I'll have some things that I'll need to take care of before before the end of stream. There's that little sparrow that keeps getting down there.
What time is it for you now, KB?
It is almost 10 after 2. I'm on the Eastern time. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Although right now I don't feel like it's saving much in the way of daylight. I like doing 2 different cables on these. Or cables. God, cable on the brain. I like it doing 2 different kinds of rib. I started at the very top with a 1x1 rib. And I do that for 7 or 9 rows, whatever you feel like. And then I switch up to a 3x1 rib, so 3 knits, 1 purl, until I get to the decreases at the bottom. This one here, I feel like I could have made a little bit taller. Could have done a few more rows on there before decreasing. So I'll keep that in mind for the next one. Needs to be a tad bit longer, tad bit taller. But it holds this one nice. Peekaboo, I see you. Yeah. I'm going to leave this out. Because I can try this on over. I'm using that same Haya 24-inch. Same needle I used with the socks that I just finished. Like, well, I got this out. It's going to be a while before the next pattern comes out. Put a marker on that cable just in case. So this will stretch and go over. So you got about halfway. So I want to do more than that before I decrease for the bottom. But even a band like this is enough to keep it. You really don't need a bottom. Do you? What do you think? Just do a band? That'll still keep it from unraveling. Maybe I should switch back to the 1x1 rib and do...
Hello.
Hello. How are you? Neo? Is that right? Neo?
Neolocus. Cindy from Chile.
Oh, Cindy. Hi, Cindy. I'll try to remember. How you doing? Kinda. I don't know. What y'all think? Should I do it that way?
Hello there. Welcome. Neolocus. Neo is okay.
Okay.
Geonatrix. Hi, Cindy. Fergster. Hey, Neo.
So should I do it as just like a ball band? Questions. I have questions now. Do we really need to put a bottom on it?
Neolocus. I'm testing the hat. What are you doing?
I'm figuring out if I want to do yarn cozies like this one to where it has a bottom on it and it holds your cake of yarn, or if I just want to do it more like a ball band.
I've seen a lot of ball band type cozies.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Just do like a ball band and not do the decreased bottom. So I have...
Give it a go and see if you like it.
So let's see, I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. And then I can switch back to my 1x1 rib.
Stream Elements. Thank you for following Asiat Irons.
Ooh!
Asiat Irons. Thanks for following.
Thank you! Welcome to the Fiber family. Thank you for the follow. As Yet Yarns. Is that right? As Yet Yarns. Gary says things funky. Never mind him. I use him because I don't like to miss any messages. And I like to be able to... Sorry about Gary. Again, I apologize. I don't want to miss anybody's messages, is why I have a text-to-speech bot.
But I guess it's just personal preference.
Well, I mostly just want it so that it keeps the yarn from unraveling when I put it away. Because sometimes I'll cake a yarn and then I'll get to looking at the pattern like, I really don't want to use that yarn.
First
So,
step. Yeah.
but when you put it away, it unravels and gets all unruly. There's so many cakes. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Pearl cake
7.
38.
There's several.
My sprinkler goes like this. Comes back like t t t t t t t t t t t t t t t t t t.
Wow. But yeah, I'm just looking for something that keeps things like this from unraveling and becoming unruly.
I figured out the return trip.
Haha. D. Although that was a little long for the return trip. But it works.
Frolic 838. Yeah. Sorry.
That's okay.
Frolic
It's fine.
838.
It's fine.
I'll shorten it. Frolic 838. Yeah, no. Next time.
Right?
838. Fluff.
It's floof, Gary. Floof. We've had this discussion. I don't know how many times about floof. Some of the words that he says. Woo boy. Ooh boy.
Frolic 838. My name is Gary and I cannot say fluff.
Right? Oh gosh. Good old times. Back to the good old times.
Hi, Gary.
And then for the smaller balls like this, I don't have to make them as big.
Bergster. Veg casserole is now on the stove for tomorrow.
Ooh. I think we're making some kind of quiche. At least that's the mother-in-law's plan, I understand. Hubby apparently called his mom. Because we'll be going there and staying there. That's where we'll be hiding out at for a couple of nights. We usually take our own pillows and sleeping bag.
Is it far away?
It's a 6-hour drive. It is a 6-hour drive. This way it can help keep your labels too if you forget to tuck your label in the middle when you cake it up. I've done that I don't know how many times. So I can't tell you how many cakes of yarn back there don't have their ball band. They get lost. And this would also help keep the ball bands on. Uh-huh. Even if you wanted to keep part of a label, you could pin that part of the label onto this ball band, and this will hold it better. Yeah, it's snoring. Why are we all huddled in the corner? What's in the corner? Is there something there that I need to be concerned about? They aren't acting like they're afraid of anything. They're just all huddled in that corner. Somebody dug a good hole. As chickens do. Silly creatures. They will get a special treat tomorrow before we head out. I have a person coming to get some eggs before we leave, and I think I'm taking five dozen up with me. I think that's what we determined. So I will be watching my cameras. My neighbor across the street will be watching the cameras as well. He is a police officer. He'll also be coming over to collect eggs while we are away. I think 2 more times around, then we'll bind off. I don't know why. I think ribbing looks better if it's an odd number over an even number. I don't know why. It's just how it feels, man. That's just how it feels. You know, if you don't want to use it as a ball band, you can always use it as a cuff. Always use it as a cuff. Wrist warmer. Double dose. That feels nice. Maybe I'll make another one of these and leave a hole for my watch so I can see my watch. Ooh, yeah.
Or you could keep your hands safe from that super dangerous McDonald's coffee.
Oh, yeah. Cup cozy. Yeah. That little barrier does help. Indeed. Usually they put sleeves on their, well, most coffee shops put an extra sleeve on their cups, or they use a more insulated cup, so it's not so hot to hold.
Geonatrix. Because you drink so much coffee.
I drink a lot of hot tea and a lot of hot chicory, and I do hot white chocolate as well. But I do more hot teas and chicory than anything else. Sis knows me. Doesn't take much to really know me. Got a few little quirks, but I don't think I have that many little quirks. I don't know. Do I, sis? Do I have that many quirks? You seem to know me better than I know me. I don't know if this is really saying anything.
Geonatrix. Quirks are fun.
Okay, last time around.
Frolic 838. Well, finding the right combo for your Christmas gift was fun. Besides, my base for comparison is miso.
Yeah.
Geonatrix.
This is true.
No, almost no quirks. Frolic 838.
Almost none?
Something about scents and stuffs.
Yeah, scents, yeah. Gotta keep it light. I don't like things super fragrant. I like the light smells. You know, like a fresh spring rain. It's probably what it smells like today. Although today it's not quite as warm as it was yesterday. Yesterday was... if it wasn't for the wind, it would have been a perfect day. Perfect day. I really wanted to...
Petrichor is a great scent.
I really wanted to get back out into the garage and run my tumbler and tumble up some alpaca, and I wanted to use my drum carter and combine the alpaca with some wool that I have. Oh, I got so many ideas, so many things I want to do. My pattern list is probably, I don't know, 100 miles long by now.
No, Gary. Pet
Ricor? Pet Ricor?
Frolic 838.
Petticore? Still no.
Frolic 838.
Pet Ricor?
Pet Ricor. Frolic 838. That was closer.
Petticore? Sometimes you have to purposely misspell things for him to pronounce things correctly. Okay, let's bind off. Sounds like an empty train going by. Also feels like the sun is trying to peek out. You know, doing it this way is not going to match the other side very well.
Geonatrix. A decent first go. Geonatrix. In Discord.
Okay.
Geonatrix. Now the border. Stream elements. Welcome to Cave Fibers. I hope you enjoy the stream. Frolic 838. Petrich or Petrike are now the distinctive scent which accompanies the first rain after a long warm dry spell.
Right? That's nice. Geo, that's looking sweet. Look how precious. So
Frolic
precious.
838. Great work, Geo.
Yes. Looking good. She got it figured out. She got it figured out.
Geonatrix. After an iron ITLL be nice.
Do you give it a good flash of steam? I need to go a little bigger on the crochet hook. But I think this one is too big. Give this a whirl.
Frolic 838. Those are so cool.
I really like this hook set. This is from Boy. And then of course you have your handle. It's 1 through 14. 14 is your smallest. Very tiny. Very little. I use 7 the most. Between 7 and 10. For the bead work, I think it was a size 12 I used for the beads.
Frolic 838. Oh wow. I needs it. Not really, but choice.
Right? I hear ya. And it's in a nice, I love that it's in a nice case and everything stays together. It's actually a wonderful set. I like it a lot. For the smaller needles. Bum, 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 bum.
Bergster. Have.
Sorry. Mia snoring. She's laying beside me here. I'm moving the camera. Instead of up there, she's been down here. She likes that blanket. I might cut that piece of fleece down and put some on her her usual nappy spot. See if she likes that. I don't know if you're able to even find these anymore. I've had this a very long time. Even the boy label that was on here peeled off. Oops.
Geonatrix. Oh, that baby head is done and super cute. Geonatrix.
Sorry.
Mia. Geonatrix. Carrie.
Sorry, I was still looking at the hood. need to move Gary to another spot in order for him to stay on.
LOL.
Too many things open and I'm looking at.
Are our socks going well, G?
I don't think G is making the socks, actually. I think she gave up on this season of Sock Madness. She drew the line at Pooh. Tossed in the towel. Sock Madness pretty much is a captive audience.
Bergster. Fair, I get it.
Got hundreds of people struggling to make it through your poorly written pattern. This year seemed to be the worst. It's worse this year than it was last year. Last year was just kind of okay. But this year it's like everybody's on edge, everybody's grumpy. It's just, ugh. Can we not be so grumpy about a pair of socks, please and thank you? Go to this side, and to finish it off,
Bergster.
underneath of it.
That is certainly the vibe I have picked up.
Yeah, that's the vibe I got after round 1 when my teammate finished in 18 hours. I was just like, wow, 18 hours, that's fast. I feel like I'm on the wrong team if this is how fast this team is gonna go. I practically got my head bit off. It's like, jeez. And then the mod went through and deleted the messages.
I don't wanna. Geonatrix.
Had so many people say they were cute.
I'm over the stress.
Well, between that and work and the kids and you got a lot going on there in your house.
Geonatrix. And I don't like them. Bergster.
They're not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could get away with doing them all in one color, I don't know. The bonus pair of socks is definitely would have been more of a challenge than this pair.
I'll only knit along if I like the next ones.
I actually do like the contexture socks. I don't understand why that wasn't the round 3 socks and saved the Pooh for the extra.
If I do them, I'm removing the sweater.
Just like the stupid fish one. I'm glad that was a bonus and not part of the madness. I would have threw in the towel right there. I'm like, I am not making fish socks. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. I like to go fishing. I like fishing. Nothing against fish. I don't need a fish pair of socks. You couldn't fit it in a freaking shoe anyway because of the fins and junk on it. It's like, are you serious? Not doing that. Make a cute pair of slippers, but definitely not a cute pair of socks. mean, most people aren't going to see this pair of socks when I wear them anyway. My pant leg's going to cover it up, so
Geonatrix.
it's just a nice,
I like Winnie, but
warm pair of socks. Winnie the Pooh's my favorite. He's an easy kind of going bear.
Birdster. I like Winnie's butt too. Geonatrix. The honeycomb sweater combo is off.
We didn't say anything about Pooh's butt.
Geonatrix. LOL.
We're not going there. That's Stacy's stream. That's not KB's stream.
Geonatrix. POO butt.
This whole room used to be Winnie the Pooh before it became my craft room. Just so y'all know, KB used to have a big thing for Winnie the Pooh. I even have a Winnie Pooh that goes on my Christmas tree and it plugs in. His arms move and his head moves and he sings a song.
Geonatrix. I just think it was two ideas squashed together badly.
Yeah. There you go. It works for the small ones. I like that. I'll keep these in order, but kind of lose the color. It needs to be thinner. What if I were to just fold it in half? It's a yarn sweater. Yarn sweater with a collar. That's what it is. Yeah, yeah.
I do bee socks or Pooh socks, but
I think it would have been cuter without the
Geonatrix.
beads on it.
POO socks not.
Yeah, leave the beads off and it would be super cute. That I could get behind as a poo, but no, not the way they did it. Not the way they did it. Not the way they did it. Yeah, you could have left the bees off.
I'm okay with beads or sweater, both don't mesh.
Yeah, I agree. These are going to be hidden underneath my pant legs anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. They do fit at least. I don't know. Bottom or no bottom? I feel like this could be like a ball I could throw at hubby when I get mad. No bottom? I could get behind either one. Or maybe just a cuff. Wrist warmer. Yeah, that's what it is. Wrist warmer.
Either way, I am not feeling well and the stress has been grouchy. Time to call it.
I hear ya. 8.5 grams, 0.3 ounces. This one's a little bigger than that one.
Elliot Squirrel. Feel better soon, Geo.
Not happening. I mean, she's got changes at work. Kids are arguing more than normal.
Geonatrix.
Just,
Thank you.
Just,
Bergster. Seems to have a lot of people grouchy. I would never even enter.
Thing about entering is you get all these free patterns. Because after Sock Madness, everybody that participated can download whatever ones they want. That's when I think the bonuses go to everybody. Otherwise, the only way you get the bonuses is if you're participating.
Geonatrix. I might just do sidelines next year.
Sidelines. Oh, be a cheerleader. I don't know. Cheerleaders get the patterns as they go.
Participate, but less stress.
But yeah.
Bergster. With this amount of stress, is it really a free pattern though, LOL?
Yeah.
Geonatrix.
It's still a free pattern.
Geonatrix. Just hate the term.
Right? Right? You're in it for the free patterns. I can understand that. But I think the bonus sock after the poo pair
Bergster.
is much
You
better.
may not pay money, but you pay.
Hey, you just pay in a different way. I see what you're saying.
Geonatrix.
Yeah.
I'm not 14 anymore.
This pair should have been the pair, and then the poo sock should have been the bonus. I mean, if they're gonna do like the fish sock as a bonus, they should have done the poo as a bonus. But this should have been the pair for this round. I like it. I'll make that pair eventually. I could do it now, but I'm not feeling it right now. Kind of sucked out. Kind of feeling a little sucked out. Set those over here.
At Geo_Matrix here, I felt the same about that TBH.
Hiya, right here. I'm gonna get these needles put away. Because I'm thinking about starting the hood.
Geonatrix. It also bothers me that the writers are competing.
Yeah. The designers, yeah. I agree.
Bergster. Ain't me.
I agree. It feels all wrong that the designers should be competing in the competition. I feel like they get a little bit of advantage over everybody else, and I just don't feel that's right. Hello? Hello?
Geonatrix.
Okay, bye.
Mods definitely have favorites too.
Yeah, I think so too. The people that have been in it for years and years, and they're all a bunch of suck-ups. Sorry to say it that way, but that's how I feel. Alright, do we want to start the hood?
Geonatrix. New people are trashed.
Unfortunately, I do want to start with the middle color. So I'm thinking about taking this ball band off and recaking it so that the dark color is on the inside.
Geonatrix. Start the hood. Geonatrix. Or pull from the middle.
I don't like to pull from the middle because I'll be traveling and it's just going to become a tangled mess. So I think I'm going to take the ball band off. It's just a piece of tape here. I think I will just recake it. It just gets too tangly if you pull from the middle. At least that's been my experience.
Good plan.
I don't know if my smaller ball winder will handle it. That's the other thing I was debating.
I'm a middle puller. LOL.
A lot of people are, and there's nothing. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. That's just it's not how I do it. I don't want to have to recake it or reball it when I'm done with the project, because it'd be like this. I still have all this left over. Now I don't have to reball it. I don't have to recake it. It's not going to become a knotted mess.
It's personal preference.
Yeah, it is. It is. Oops, that's not going to work. Okay. Set it there. There we go. It's just like needles or personal preference. Now let me know if this is too loud for the microphone. I can mute myself. See, I think I already decided to go with a US 3.25 needle instead of the 4mm needle. I'm going to start at the top of the hood instead of the bottom and work up.
Nah, it's like a soothing freight train.
Soothing freight train. Click, click, click. Okay, I can get that. Biggest concern I have is having enough yarn, because they used sport weight and I'm using more of a fingering weight, so more than likely I will need more than 515 yards. So I have to think about that too. Like, okay, that felt different because it changed one strand in here and they didn't join it together really nicely. I'll have to fix that when I work on it. It'll be okay. But right now we're just recaking a yarn to use. Now you know it's pretty rough when the yarn comes with a knot in it. Hubby is home. He's a couple minutes early. There we go. More or less just holding a slight bit of tension on the yarn as I'm caking, but I'm mostly feeling for knots. But I have a feeling this has to maybe, well, I don't know. Does this pattern go by measurement or rows? That's another big question. Something really hard right here. In the yarn. It's weird. Weird spot. I think it's small enough now. I can put it in the yarn bowl. Oops. Doesn't help that I changed the angle of how I'm holding it, so I'm gonna need to stick yarn wool down here. You're fine, baby. out in the middle. Hello. Long time no see. It's been a few hours. Coming off the ball with these knots in it. Like whoever caked it up originally, caked it up very loosely, which allowed the yarn to tangle on itself.